And they're like, well, I know I want to be that. I want great.
Right, they'll be like, I bought the car, right? I bought the car, so I'm good. But it's like, no, that's not what makes you a luxury real estate.
Go get yourself into luxury homes. Spend time in luxury homes. Post about luxury homes that you're standing in and you're analyzing and you're talking about and you're understanding. And what happens is people start to go, wow, every time I see Matt is in this luxury house, handling this luxury environment, working in this luxury zone. He must be a luxury agent. This is like the showing is better than telling. Welcome back to Life at 1010s, where we coach people out of burnout into high-performing businesses so they can fuel their life. I've got Matt Benelli with me. We're going to have some fun today, man, because you are your biggest asset, whether you know it or not. Not you, Matt, the people out there. You are too. You're doing great. You are your biggest asset. And Matt, we are watching people, and we've been watching this for a while, people trying to be other people. They're trying to build in other people's personas. And we're going to address this today. We're going to talk about it because I'm not finding enough people just owning who they are, loving who they are, putting that out there in the world. And if you're building referral relationship businesses, they already know who you are. So lean into it. Have fun with this. So, morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. And yeah, this reminds me, we just had our engagement engine webinar, which if y'all missed it, you could probably figure out some way to access that recording or just reach out to us. Just go to 1010s.co. I'm not sure the logistics post it, after that, because we're actually recording this before it, but we just had it at the time of you recording this.
It was great.
And we created the engagement engine, Garrett, because we wanted to help people identify a personal system of communication that works for them. And this works in the personal branding world too. And I'm not saying that tools and systems and processes that other people built don't work, because they do. It's like when you get into a car, you're using a machine that somebody else built to get you from point A to point B, right? But your personality of when you're in the car, how you're customizing the car, all those things is different. That's branded to you and who you are. And we are all unique. There's a reason why we were all created as individuals instead of all the same carbon copy of each other. And so we're not saying don't learn from or even utilize systems or processes or structures that other have proven to be successful with. And this even comes to the content creation. But Garrett, if you go right to, as you're saying, doing the exact same thing as somebody else, doing it in their way, there's only one, right? And if you're the second person to do it, you're not the original and you're not going to be as good.
So what's important with this is there's ways to put your own twists on stuff. There's ways to make it you. It's like in the comedy world, I look at comedy and go don't copy other people's jokes. It is the biggest no-no in the comedy world to get up on stage and to go, you know what, that joke crushed it when Matt did it the other day, so I'm going to do the same joke. And for a little bit there, they get laughs. For a little bit there, they're on stage and people go, ha ha ha, that's a really funny joke. And then there's this place of wait, that wasn't theirs. I'm seeing this all over the place now. I saw it there, I heard it there, I heard it. Who was the oh, this person was the original one who did it. That's really funny. All these other people just kind of copied it. All right. And it loses its energy. And again, big no-no in the comedy world. If you ever go into comedy, don't just sit down and copy a whole bunch of jokes and be like, these all crush it. I'm going to make a top 10 list and just go crush tonight. You might for a little bit, and then it might hurt afterwards. In real estate, we're watching this, Matt, and I think with the use of AI, it's even more rampant because it's easy to go in and be like, I have this listing and here's all the features of it, and write me a funny script about this. And you can even go farther with that and go and do it in the tone of Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's getting older. Some people out there may not even go, I don't see Eddie Murphy anymore. But you could say, give it in the style of this. And all of a sudden you've got this thing built. And at some point it's the pictures don't match. That doesn't feel like that person. Who are they? And especially in the referral relationship business, you have to be very, very, very careful. You can damage that personal side very easy. If people go, it doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel like that person that I know. These are the things we got to be careful about, and we need to kind of tread lightly, but you can still make it you. You can still add in you, but you got to know who you are.
Well, we see this a lot because, in terms of it having poor performance when you're mimicking somebody, because you're usually copying somebody who did something really great, but they did it for a purpose and they did it in alignment with their own identity. And when you go mimic somebody, you're aligning with their identity, which may not be the same. And I guarantee, even if it is close, there are nuances. That's not you. Well, let's use Ryan Serhant as an example, since he is a big real estate celebrity guy. A lot of people try to mimic the content that he does, you know, how he does things and all of that. He is a very purpose-driven person. Everything he does is based on, you know, research. I'm sure he tries some things too, and maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but I believe he's somebody who truly knows who he is, what his brand is, and he is aligning his content and his distribution around that. What you can learn from him is the structure about how he goes in his content creation pathways, maybe the pillars of content that he is setting up so that he is fulfilling each thing when he's doing things. But in terms of the actual performance, if you go and mimic that, then you're just trying to be Ryan Serhant instead of being yourself. And your true identity is going to show up way better and connect with way more people, or at least your ideal people, than it will if you're just trying to be somebody else. And the other side of this too, Garrett, is if you just try to be somebody else so often, whether it's in content or in real life, you're going to burn yourself out.
Yeah. Well, and this goes back to what the book, it might have been the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, where he talks about there's only one you. There will always only be one you.
I have it sitting on my desk.
That's a great book.
I just read his excerpt of this in Win the Morning this week. It's so funny. It's sitting on my desk right now.
But he talks about there's only one you. There will ever only be one you. And all the time that's existed beforehand and all the time that's going to exist after you're gone, there still is only one you ever. That's it. If you look at any of the personalities that are out there that we know and we go, okay, that person stands out to me. And Ryan Serhant's one of them. Alex Hormozy's one of them. You look, I mean, I could sit here and name Gary Vee. We can throw names out all the time. Tony Robbins. These are all people that they did not try to be somebody else. They actually went like, I'm going all in on me and what I bring to the table. Now they do have a team that helps get them out there. Because I mean, I say Ryan Serhant's videos, the ones that I like the most is when his staff is messing with him around the office. Those are actually the ones that make, I think, Ryan more of a real person in my world, rather than this just like fictitious thing that's out there in the universe, where they're like, you know, hazing him almost around the office and watching his reactions while he's in the middle of trying to do something, and they're like putting a lemon in his hand. He's like, why, and like throwing it across the room. That is a very real moment. And I think that in these places, as we're growing and we're building our brand, and it's okay to be real. It's okay to just fumble through some stuff. It's okay to step over some words, and you might pick on yourself later of going, man, it didn't feel as polished. But for the most part, this is how everybody else perceives you. The way that you look at yourself on camera, and you're like, I don't know, I don't like the way I look. Has anybody noticed my nose actually points to the side a little bit? I'm talking about myself personally. I will pick on myself
until now.
I got it.
Different sizes. I have a really big nose, so I have that to compete with. Plus big eyebrows. If anybody,
I used to have a really perfect nose, and then I got whacked in college.
You did something that you shouldn't have, and someone told you it with their fist.
I might have talked about somebody's sports team, and I got hit. I lost in so many ways, but it's like, I will be judgmental about my nose. And there's times on camera that I overthink it. I'm like, oh, it's like, I kind of look, you know, nobody else cares. Everybody else just knows me as that's my nose. That's what it is. And nobody even thinks deeper than that. And this is where it's like, we can overthink and pick ourselves apart all day long. The tonality of our voice, the size of our ears. Matt, you got great eyebrows. We can have fun with this all day long. And again, that is you. Like, at the end of the day, this is you. And I think we can have fun being us. I think when we talk about our marketing, when we talk about videos that we want to be doing, social media stuff that we want to do, especially if you're building a referral-based business, a relationship-style business, get comfortable with you, like really comfortable with you.
Yeah.
Because that is how those relationships are built. That's how the trust levels are built. That is how the intimacy is built. And when you're not showing up as you, it's really hard to build to that next level of that relationship we're really trying to structure.
Yeah. Well, thinking about the strategy behind
Matt,
it.
I'm sorry for picking on your eyebrows, by the way. That was
really
low. It was a shot across the bow. I didn't mean to
I've
do that.
lived with these eyebrows my whole life. In fact, they used to call me Jim's dad, if anybody is an American Pie movie fan. Because Eugene Levy has massive eyebrows too. And apparently I look like him.
When Matt's baby was first born, he sent me a picture, and I'm like, and my first response back was, thank goodness you didn't get your eyebrows.
Oh, thank God. Having girls, I'm like, oh no, don't have all the... They're beautiful. They're amazing. They got their mom's looks, which is a blessing for sure.
I love it. Sorry, I derailed you. I just wanted to make sure we were cool.
Where are we going? Right. Strategy behind being you, because people are like, okay, well, what if I don't like who I am? What if I'm nervous? Like, how do I be me? And I think this is one of the missing links that a lot of people don't talk about. Well, it starts with just, how are you, if you're thinking about producing content, right? Which you know what? Don't even think about producing content, because the most important thing for your brand to show up in and as is as you in the real world. When you're talking to clients, when you're out there having a conversation with your colleagues, and it's happening naturally right now. And so if you want to know how do you be more of you, just have a conversation with yourself on who am I? Like, what are my values? What do I believe in? What do I enjoy? What makes me smile? How do I like interacting with people? Who are the people that I like spending time with? Which I think is actually something that we probably don't pay enough attention to, because we'll say, hey, I want to be someone different, or I want to grow into this. Well, who are you surrounding yourself with to help you grow and become that best version of yourself, right? Not to just be someone different in terms of like, I want to be Ryan or Gary or whatever. It's, well, I just want to elevate myself, and I want to surround myself in that atmosphere. If you start there and just have that conversation with yourself, Garrett, I think you can really understand the identity that you're going for, and then you can start being that person today. And I'm going to connect it to this phrase that I hate, and I know you don't like either, and maybe hate's a strong word, and it is a strong word, but fake it till you make it. I am not a fan of it, because you don't have to fake who you're becoming. You just need to be who you're becoming by starting to do the things, because anybody who did anything that you would consider great and amazing started off as a nobody, right? And they didn't pretend to be somebody who had it figured out. They just started figuring it out. And so can you with your own identity in that course. And I think that is a crucial element, Garrett, in starting to understand who am I and how do I be more of that?
Well, when you look at figuring out who you are, and you brought up a great point, which is like, we got our people around you. We have our friends around us right now. And I think it's very a vulnerable place, and a lot of people don't really lean into this. But if you ever wanted to, you can sit down with your friends and be like, look, I'm growing my business. I'm growing, where I'm going. I have an idea of like a direction I want to go in. But it's funny, a lot of us don't really know who we are. We actually lean into more of who we think we might want to be. That's a lot of like how we'll describe ourselves as like this kind of person that we want to be. The best place you can go to is the people that love you and know you the best. Yeah. And go to your kids and sit down with them and say, if you had to describe me, like what makes me me, what would you say? Like, what are the things that stand out? Go to your spouse, sit down with them, go to some of your best friends and sit down and be like, I am really trying to build a brand that is me. And I'm curious, how do you perceive me? How do I show up? What are the words you would use to describe me? And just take notes. Now, the other side of this is if you don't want to lean into your friends, and if you don't want to do that, there are coaches out there. I've done this with a lot of people that I coach when we're trying to figure out what direction they want to go and making sure they're staying on point of their own personal brand. The other side is we got AI. You can go to AI right now and sit down and say, by the way, don't go to AI and say, will you help write me a brand of who I am and what I'm about? And because it will be like, sure, you're nice guy Garrett Fry. It'll give you whatever you want. But if you ask it to ask you questions and say, I am trying to get a deeper understanding of how I can show up authentically to the world around me, can you ask me questions and based off my answers, help me determine only through my answers. Do not get creative. Do not go outside the box. Only through my answers. What did you learn from me that makes me who I am, that I can lean into in my marketing? I can lean into in my energy that I have going out around me. The tools are right here to do that right now. You do have to do it the way that I just said it, though. If you haven't make the decision for you of your personality, it will create a personality that people are going to go, that doesn't feel like Matt. Because AI decided that that's who you should be.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that at all. I think what's interesting too about this identity and personal brand stuff too is it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. Like, you're never going to be perfect, but you need to start with that baseline. Like, if you're like, hey, I want to be a healthier person, right? I want to be somebody who's more fit or whatever. And you go and analyze your life and you're hitting happy hour every single day. You're eating ice cream every single weekend or whatever it is. It's like, well, your actions aren't aligning with who you say you are. And I think when we elevate that to the content level, that's what people are seeing, right? There is a disconnect between who you say you are and who we see. And those are two pictures that we want to overlap and be close, even though you're not perfect. And sometimes to my own detriment, I'm like, gosh, why did I have to become the I work out in the morning guy? Because some mornings I don't want to work out, right? And that's okay. But also, if I just started, being a glutton all over the place, people will be like, what's going on with Matt? Like, this doesn't be who we are. But over time, I can become that new person, though. I can become the opposite of what I once was if you do it long enough. You just have to know, who do you want to be, and then make sure that your actions are following through most of the time, because you can make up for errors and slip ups. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. And this is where, when it comes to content, we assume, Garrett, that everything has to be perfect and polished right from the get-go. And this is where, no, I don't think so. You need to actually do more and then get called out on some things that you're like, hey, that's not really you. I've gotten called out on content before, Garrett. I know you've gotten called out. You've called out other people on their content.
My mom
called out people over time, whoever you're like, oh, I see you actually made a pattern of this, and now I like where this is going, right?
It's my mom calls me. She's the first one to be like, that's not you.
I'm
like, you're right.
She's watching.
But it's funny. She's the first one to call me out in a very loving way of, that didn't feel like you, especially when we were rebranding ourselves, Matt. We go back 2 years ago when we were all of a sudden going on this new path. We had this moment of like, okay, we are starting life at 10 tenths. We're going to build this new world for us. And we very much were leaning into our new kind of roles that we were in. And there was a definite place there of, are we growing something that is true to us? And we need to make sure. And I found myself kind of like veering down a path a little bit. And I could tell it wasn't feeling right. It wasn't feeling perfect to me. And then it was funny. My mom would be the first one to call me and go, nope. I'd be like, all right, I knew it. All right, go back to exactly what we need to be staying focused with. And if we've stayed there, I mean, really, this is who we are. This is what we're about.
Yeah.
And I think that there's one thing also of telling somebody who you're going to be and then being the person that you're going to be and letting people figure out who you are on their own. And I think that that's a place that some people get themselves into challenges where they start saying, this is what I am, this is who I'm about. And then, Matt, do you have a dog?
I do have a dog. Speaking of not being perfect.
I'm super distracted. I'm like, he has a dog in his hands right now.
We'll just let everybody, if you're on YouTube, this is little Teddy.
That means the cleaners have arrived and Teddy has now entered the scene.
They have. And I was trying to be muted for a long time, but you're so right. When you start something new, particularly you and me, I want to highlight this. This is a journey that we've been on, and everybody gets to experience Teddy for a little bit here.
Yeah.
When we were merging our personalities, you and me have different personalities, different personal brands, and we were for years on the same podcast, and it worked really well, and it still works really, really well. And then we started a company, right? And it was like, oh, how do we blend our personalities and our personal identities into this new brand that we're establishing? And it was a challenge on the front side of it. And over 2 years now, we've learned to manage it really well. And I think that we're doing great with it. And this is the whole point, is your brand will evolve. But like you said it, don't just tell somebody what you're going to do. Just, you can tell people, but do it, right? Follow through, show up in that way. If relating this to real estate, how many real estate agents, Garrett, want to be the luxury realtor, right? And I get it. There's money in that. But if you're not showing up as the luxury realtor, you're not the luxury realtor. It doesn't matter what price tag is set on the homes that you're listing. At the same point, if you're like, I'm for everybody, but you're only showing up for some people, then you're not for everybody, which, by the way, you shouldn't be for everybody. I meant like, you get what I mean here on this.
But I love the luxury side of this real quick, because I've watched many, many, many people over the years that will have this voice of I'm the luxury agent. I'm going to start marketing myself as a luxury agent. I'm going to start putting that out. And then when you actually have a conversation with them, your brain goes, are they the luxury agent? I don't know if they're really doing that in real time. They say they are, but I don't know if they really are. And this is that spot when people come to me for coaching and they're like, I want to move. I want to be the luxury agent. I'm like, great. How many luxury properties have you been in the last week? And they're like, well, I know I want to be that. I want great.
Right, they'll be like, I bought the car, right? I bought the car, so I'm good. It's like, no, that's not what makes you a luxury realtor.
Go get yourself into luxury homes. Spend time in luxury homes. Post about luxury homes that you're standing in and you're analyzing and you're talking about and you're understanding. And what happens is people start to go, wow, every time I see Matt is in this luxury house, handling this luxury environment, working in this luxury zone. He must be a luxury agent. This is like the showing is better than telling. And I think a lot of times when people are telling you who they are and what they're about, usually it's BS. It's one of the first things when somebody wants to tell me who they are, I'm like, you're probably not. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But if I can see it, I can go, that is who, that makes sense. All the dots connect. And this is where I think in understanding your brand as you were all growing and how we started this is like, lean into who you are. And if you want to become somebody, don't tell people who you are. Don't just start throwing it out there. Like, go do it. Start showing up in that way. And then people will start saying this about you. And you're gonna be like, yeah, that is me. That is actually who I am. I'm happy you see me that way. But it's because I consistently show up that way. That's a much stronger brand if you're consistently showing up in a way. And Matt, you've done a great job with the health side of it. You post all the time. I can't own that brand on that level. Like that's not who I am. But the car stuff I can, and that world of my love of having that type of hobby, I can consistently lean into that because it's who I am.
Well, and I think that's a part of the key element here is that it's going to be a lot easier for you to establish a brand identity around the things that you already do and the things you like to do, or the new things that you're getting into. Like you could establish a health side of your personal brand if you just started showing up in that way. I could start, a car racing element of my brand if I started showing up in that way. I'll give you an example, personal example. Like when I started selling real estate, I started working for a firm that was associated with luxury real estate, right? So I had access to nice homes and I would go tour these homes and everything. And that is what started to happen was people would say like, oh, you sell those expensive homes over in that town and all that stuff, right? Whether I was or was not at the moment, like that was what the brand was building up to be, right? However, my personality would come through in what I would share. And that's what I think a lot of people miss, Garrett, is they'll say, hey, I want to do what Ryan Serhant does. And so they try to do it with his personality instead of taking the structure and the organization of how he does what he does and then putting their personality through it, right? Yeah. Because that's what really will connect people at the end of the day, whether you're a luxury agent, whether you're selling land, whether you're selling new construction, whether you're selling condos, whether you're doing apartment rentals, racing cars, health and fitness, whatever it is. There's a million people who do the same thing. The thing that is done, everybody else does. Just look at it that way. What's going to differentiate you is who you are and the personality you bring to the table, not the little gimmicks of, hey, I'm going to do this funny video and all of a sudden everybody's going to think that I'm this person. It's like, no, people might think the video is funny, but they'll think about who you are based on how you show up outside of that content and the consistency of how you show up in all of your content.
I'm just sitting here thinking about how funny it is over the years, Matt, that it's funny. I've thrown out a handful of times that I like listening to punk rock. That's like my music I go to. It's funny how many people have reached out to me wanting to talk about coaching, but at some point during the coaching, they're like, so what are your favorite punk rock bands? And they want to like go down this route. I'm like, how did we get here? And they're like, we just love that you like, or you're like, you'll talk about, like, you'll throw that kind of stuff out there. And I think that these are all pieces of your personal brand. And, as crazy as you may think, Catherine Roberts, she's an agent I coach in Dallas-Fort Worth area. She's with Sotheby's. Amazing agent. One of the things she's leaned into in the last couple, years here, really strong, is needlepoint. Needlepoint is one of her passions and love. She's got all kinds of, ribbons and trophies for like the needlepoint she's done. It's her. And what she did was she brought the two together. She started to actually talk about that more in her world, and it brought the real estate side into it. She started using the needlepoint to give little gifts that were like related to the house. And with all these pieces coming together, her business is actually doing quite well. She's building in a group of people that love her for needlepoint and love her for real estate. So she's got these things now all intertwined, to the point she's now got her license plate that represents that she likes needlepoint. Like, all these things have all come together. She is so happy in her business. Her people understand her. They can see exactly that. Are there people that would go needlepoint? Like I don't get that. Yeah, those aren't her people. And that's the beauty of leaning into who your brand is. Gary Vee swears like a sailor. There's a lot of people that go, the guy who drops F-bombs. I don't have the time or energy for that. And Gary Vee would go, cool, you're not my client. Alex Hormozy, is that the goofy guy with the hair that wears the breathing strips on his nose all the time and the cut off leave? No, muscle shirt. No, too much for me. Not his clients, not his people, not his brand. It's okay.
Well, I think the reason why this is so evident in real estate too, Garrett, is because it's hard to see the results, right? And this is why I think a lot of real estate agents will promote the results all the time. I'm top this, I'm top that. I saw somebody the other day they were like, I'm top 3% in this area. And I'm like, that is a weird number to like promote. Like, I was like, is that
I'm not
moving
the
the
best.
needle for anybody? Maybe, but
I'm not the best, but I'm pretty good.
Needlepoint's a great example though. I don't think anybody is not working with Catherine because they're like, oh, I hate needlepoint, right?
No.
If she gets the job done, they're like, cool, you like needlepoint? Great, fantastic. Can you sell my house? But where this works, particularly in real estate, is these personality traits help you build strong relationships, which then lead to business. Unlike a lot of other businesses out there where buying cycles are short. Like if I'm looking for a pair of shoes, it's probably going to take me actually, I already know what shoes I'm going to buy, but for some people, you're talking maybe an hour at the store and they have a new pair of shoes, right? I want to buy a house. We're talking about a year of thinking about this house that we're in. Where do I want to go? All that stuff. And all of a sudden it's like, gosh, been following Catherine for the needlepoint because I love that and everything. And I know she sells houses. Like, let me talk to her about this, right? And that's the beauty of your personal brand when it extends beyond just what you do in real estate. I mean, have that there, but even on the luxury side, it's like, if you're doing luxury things and associating with luxury people or whatever, like, yeah, naturally people are going to probably be drawn to you, but don't quiet your personality out of fear. Like, oh, I won't attract all these other people. You're not going to, it's really hard to repel people unless you're getting into leaning into your politics, which also is fine because you're probably just talking about a 50-50 split anyway. But it's just really hard to repel people. And so don't worry about that. Worry about attracting, because that's what's hard, is attracting people, because most people are just vanilla. They're just plain vanilla.
And most people, I think the hardest part of them attracting people is they're not really being them. They're trying to be somebody else. They're always trying to fit in with somebody else's model, somebody else's role. And that's actually the hardest part, is when you start implementing that element, people go, it doesn't feel real. Where I know some really awkward people that own who they are, and you're like, yep, that's them, and they're quirky and weird, and we love them for that. And it's like, they're the ones you find that really owned it. They really owned that energy, owned that environment. And I think it's awesome. And I think more of us should do it. It's a much more comfortable way to live, by the way. If you're not trying to be somebody else and you're just being who you are, and most of us are all really good people that want best for people around us, when you just get a chance to be you and own who you are and show it's like a very low effort world. Yeah. you just keep being you. I'm not having to sit there and go, what would I do in this moment? How would I show up right now if I was really trying to be me? You just do it. And some people are going to love you for it. Some are going to be like, yep, not my dude. Yeah. But that's the cool part is you start attracting in more of the people that say, I love them for that.
Yeah.
And
like if you don't like Pomeranians, we might have an issue here. Maybe.
I just want to tell everybody how great my dog has been. And my dog's been here the entire time. And when you introduced your dog,
your dog has been there, Garrett, for 7 years of us podcasting. And I'm on my third dog. We got our dog going here. Look at the difference.
She's such a good dog.
So I think everybody has met my other dogs who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. They've now met Teddy. That's the first time in 7 years anybody's probably like, wait, I didn't even know Garrett had a dog, let alone 2 dogs.
By the way, when you take a lab who's dead asleep on the floor and you pick them up and shake them around a little bit, she is so confused right now. She's like, why did you just do that to me?
So Garrett, I'm gonna add this one other thing on the branding thing. I know we've gone in different places here, but when it comes to like also identifying niches for your brand that maybe aren't personality types, you got to lean into what that is. So I'll use the neighborhood realtor as an example, because a lot of people want to be, I'm the neighborhood expert. Well, what does it mean to be a neighborhood expert? It's like just because you sold the most homes, because a lot of agents I see out there saying, I'm the neighborhood expert. They don't know anything about the neighborhood. They don't walk the neighborhood. They don't, participate in the HOA. They're not going to the food truck that's there every Thursday. Like if you want to be the neighborhood person, then show up and be the neighborhood person, because there's probably someone, because here's what happens. The realtor says I'm the neighborhood person, but everybody knows that John down the street is actually the neighborhood person, even though he's not a realtor. He's the neighbor, right? Everybody knows John. If you want to be the neighborhood realtor, you got to be like John, right? So that's the other thing. If you're going to niche your brand into something, then show up in that way, because that's not, then you let your personality shine through it. It doesn't matter your personality. You can be the neighborhood expert. You can be the luxury expert. You could be the land or the farm or a condo expert and just have your personality. But if you're going to be that expert, you also have to make sure you show up and actually be that person.
Isn't it funny, Matt? Because you can leave the words neighborhood expert out of it and show up as the neighborhood expert, and people are going to be like, oh, that's the guy he's always involved. He's the realtor that is the neighborhood expert. Like people will figure that on their own about you, which is really powerful, different than you going, I'm the neighborhood expert. And you might see me, but probably not, because all it is just a tagline on my postcard that I send out.
It's BS. And that's where you can actually impact your brand. If you're like, he's not the neighborhood expert. I'm actually bummed my next door neighbor's moving, because Tony, he's the guy. Like he knows everything. Like I don't know where I'm going to get my information from. He's not a realtor, right? But he's the neighborhood expert in my opinion, because he knows what's going on. So that's what I think, Garrett, this whole thing of being who you are, you got to let your personality be who it is. Do learn and absorb how other people perform from a structural and operational thing, so we can learn. It doesn't mean that you have to follow their plan either. Teddy's still here, by the way. You can develop that and make it your own, but let your personality, let who you are come through, because it's just going to make everything better. And Jen's going to be so happy that Teddy is on the podcast. She's like, you just got to have Teddy on there. Everybody's going to want to watch the podcast on YouTube.
I'm not picking Penny up again. I've confused Penny. Penny has gone back to sleeping with her frog.
So if you're one of the thousands of people who listen on audio and you're like, man, one day I'm going to go over and check out that whole YouTube thing, and you missed it when we had Brandon Buffoni on, who was fantastic. If you want to see a cute dog and a big lab, you're going to have to come watch this episode on YouTube.
Oh, Matt. Okay, so branding. I think we started this off with be you. There is nothing more powerful than you. Own who you are. If you need help understanding who you are, go talk to people that know you. They'll tell you exactly who you are. And if you need to, there's other AI tools out there that you can use what I shared with you earlier and go do that. But it's good to inspire to be in a certain way, but don't copy directly what other people are, but start showing up. And whatever you want to be, just start showing up and own that title. You want to be the neighborhood expert? Start acting like the neighborhood expert. Let the other people figure out at that moment that they go, are you the neighborhood expert? You're like, yes, did it. Didn't have to put on the postcard.
Otherwise, you're just going to copy other people. You're going to switch strategies every second, and you're going to burn yourself out. And what we really want for you is we want you to build a business that fuels your life, not consumes it. And so if that vibes with you, then start acting this way and come check out all of our other stuff. I'm laughing because
Teddy.
He likes to talk, man. But guys, if you want to learn more about what we got for you, head over to 10tenths.co. We got some great offerings for you. You can join our community, download our app, get involved. You can connect with Garrett and I directly through our app, which is incredible. Or just share the podcast with somebody else who you think might find some value out of it. Because like I just said, your business should fuel your life, not consume it. And that's what we're here to help you with. So hope that you guys have a beautiful day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, Teddy. Have a good one.
Ruff.